I'm always late, haven't I? I'm always late on a Sunday. I'm always late. So we wait for everyone to get on for a little while. Again, back inside today. The weather's been brutal again in Ireland today. I believe it's going to get really hot next week once I'm back in work. Hiya Trace, how's it going? Yeah, weather's brutal again today, but I believe it's going to get hot towards Tuesday, Wednesday. Hi Lisa, hi Marion, hi Alison, everybody coming online now. Yeah, evening, weather's brutal here. Believe it's going to get hot on Tuesday. I've got to go into work tomorrow. I'm still have a broadband issue, so it's a 6-day week for me. Hey Stephen, what's going on? Good to see you guys. How are we all this week? How is everybody getting on? Everybody good? Hi Lise, how you doing? I'm actually going to the Best of the Best Awards tonight. And my wife already had plans made, so she was like, well, you're supposed to be minding the kids. So I'm actually bringing my 2 kids with me, and she's taking the young fella with him. So I haven't even checked with the organisers. Are you rocking it, Stephen? Good. I haven't even checked with the organisers whether it's okay to bring kids, but I saw it said, family. There's my wife there, Yam and Pat. Hi, babes. What's going on? She was cooking for the Paralympic Thai team this week. And fair play to her. It was a lovely gesture of her to do that. And I believe they won gold today in the Paralympics. So go Thailand. Well done, Gabe. Nick is on. What's the story? So I read in the instructions that it said friends and family are more than welcome. We're up for an award, Best Colour Salon. So you never know. Hopefully we might be in there with a shout. A lot of good people. Hey Nick, good to be on. Karen, good to be on. I'll just give you a few minutes. Can everybody hear me? Everybody hear me okay? And Deborah Poole is on. The Pool. Yeah, you just got up, did you, Nick? Yeah, get yourself a coffee, man. Get yourself a coffee, because I'll be on here for a few minutes anyway, And because my wife is booked and she's out, I'm obviously doing the right thing, and I'm getting a Chinese takeaway for my 2 kids downstairs. And, hey, Debs, you'd know that I'm getting them something really healthy, which is obviously what we call the 3-in-1, which is just basically a load of carbohydrates covered in MSG, and tastes amazing and is really bad for you. But both my kids are going to go bananas for it, and I'm getting them, real authentic Chinese food, otherwise known as chips and curry sauce, which for Irish people, that's about as authentic as Chinese food kind of gets on a Sunday, but they haven't eaten all day. And God knows what's going to happen now when I bring them to the awards show. Hopefully it's okay, I won't have to. But Trudy, and there's a lot of people there that I know are going to be there tonight, so it'll be a bit of fun. And it's not far from where I live, so we can just grab a taxi and we'll be there in 10 minutes. Oh, you're more than welcome, Donna. Great to see everybody on. So Tracy, who is the parent of the year, Debs, you know me. I was thinking of cooking them something, and I thought about that for all of 5 minutes. And then I obviously just looked to my phone, and the Chinese is on the way. Hi, Carlito, how's it going? Hi, Rose, Sherry. I made you laugh, Sherry, last night. I mean, I just came in and I saw that thread, and I was like, Jesus, on a Saturday night, are people actually putting, boxes of pictures of colour up? I don't know. Anyway, and it was kind of funny. I just had a long day, I just had the most amazing shower. When you have a shower and you're like, you could go to bed after it. Had the most amazing shower. But, back to the question, which is great. It's great when somebody actually puts a question to you, because it gives you time. Sunny Cyprus, I wish I was there, Salas. Good talking to you this morning. Follow what I was saying to you, okay? Everything's going to be cool. Hi, Tamar. I don't know, you're going out later. I'll probably see you there. But you put a question to me about, which was a really good question, about anxiety behind the chair and fears and all that type of stuff. So I really sat and thought about it, and I put a question to a good few years this morning, that what would you see as the difference between education and training? Because I thought about this a lot during the week. I really thought about this a lot during the week. Hey Rose, good to see us all on. Tag anybody you want to get on. who you want to see it. As you can see, I just hold the phone in my hand. You don't need all this. You don't need all this crap stuff that people come out with about the net. Half it just gets in the way. But what would you guys see the difference between training and education? And I think personally, hi Marion, I think personally that this is the core of where anxiety can come from behind the chair, and why we all suffer from it, obviously, because we work with people, and people bring in, they bring in their emotional states, and they bring in their energies, and they bring in their frequencies, and that affects how we feel, so that kind of thing. So, I get anxiety from blow drying after a colour device. Yeah, no, I can understand that. Listen, we all get that. Is it too light? Oh my God, is it too light? Oh God, it's too dark. Oh God, it's too dark. It's horrible. Oh God, it's too light. It's too dark. Oh God, it's not right. It's not right. It's right. It's not right. We all get that. That's a part of our brains. It's part of our brains. But training builds confidence. Good attitude is key. Yes, totally agree with that. This is after listening to, because both are very valid and both are very important. And after Tracy's brilliant question, I sat and thought about it like all week. And education, which is a huge part of what we do, is passive. It's learning, it's understanding, and then, there's tests at the end of it, and then, you try to learn that stuff and you try to pass the test, so you try not to forget it, So education is quite passive. And you just want to get back onto the next service. That doesn't surprise me with you, Stephen. You're in savage shape, my man. You're looking great. Keep it up. But that education is is passive a lot of the time, and it's brilliant. But it's outside. Hi, Kay. It's outside the normal environment that we work in. A lot of the time. So it takes place in a studio, or it takes place in a college, or it takes place online, which is probably going to be the future. Most of it is online. So, yeah, you pull yourself to bits. We all do. But this is the thing that education is facts that we're learning. Where training is taking those facts and bringing them into your real world, which is behind the chair, and making them something that it isn't something that you try to forget. It's just something that becomes a part of you. So no matter what education, no matter what you learn, you must then take it back to the environment that you work in, which is the salon, and then you must train it, and you must train it and train it and train it till it becomes muscle memory, till it becomes just a part of who you are, so that it's impossible to forget it. So it just becomes a part of you. It just becomes a part of your core. So education is the beginning. It's the start of a road. But so many people, they do master classes and they do courses and they do, how to do a balayage course, and they go, I get so nervous, looking at this, and I get so, and then they learn how to paint. They go to the class and they do a couple of sections of a nice little V or a nice little shadow, and they watch someone like, they watch someone like Jane, or they watch someone like Tracy painting, and they do. But then you must bring that back to the salon, and you must train the living daylights out of it, so that it becomes a part of who you are. It's like you can't learn to box until somebody hits you in the face. You can't learn to box until you're actually in the ring. And you can't put a technique into place until you do it behind a chair, under pressure, with somebody who's actually paying for it. And that's where training comes into it. So many people are really good at getting education. They're really good at educating themselves, learning about the technical, how things work technically, and how to make them work, and understanding. And the page is brilliant for this, underlying pigments, levels, volumes of peroxides, texture of hair, vocal points, bone structure, skin tone. You can learn all that, but you must then take all those facts, bring them into your environment, which is the salon, and train the living daylights out of them under pressure. Because it's only under pressure that it becomes a part of who you are. It's like swinging a golf club. You just swing it. You practice 3,000 times so that you can just go behind the chair and you can swing it. You can swing it, you can swing it, you can swing it. So, hi Alan, how you doing? So this is the difference between education and training. There is a moment, Stephen, where it clicks, and it takes quite a while. But a lot of people, a lot of people sort of wonder where anxiety comes from, behind the chair. And for hiya Michael, how you doing? For me, it comes like there's nothing worse than being behind a chair and not knowing what you're doing, or not being able to make a decision. And that comes back to a lack of training and not a lack of education. I mean, I see people who are so brilliantly trained, who understand how colour is made inside out, back to front, but just stick them in a busy salon with a full column and they'll fall apart. They'll fall apart really quickly because they're not trained. You understand what I mean? So education is the beginning. It's like you go to college to learn to be a lawyer, but until you stand in a courtroom and defend somebody, you're not a lawyer. You're just not a lawyer. And you can people, the question came up during the week, like, so what does colour degree do for you? It gives you that confidence, and it gives you that understanding, and it gives you all that knowledge. And then you must take it back to the salon and use that to create training. Yeah, like Karen's brought up a good point there. You are using everything under pressure. Like, under pressure is a really good thing. It's something I train. It's something I train really, really. I try to train a lot. I mean, it depends on what pressure you work under, because so many of us work in different environments these days. Some people work from home and they do 2 clients a day, or 1 client a day, and that's their pressure. That's their pressure, is to do 1 client in 7 hours, and there's nothing wrong with that. Other people's pressure is to do 7 clients in 1 day, and that's their pressure. So this is another thing as well, is that you can have people. And Nick, this is very true. I used to suffer with this one as well. That being very excited and people think that being anxious is being excited and being anxious are the same feelings. So you can be very excited about something and you think it's anxiety, and then you start to analyze it, and then you fall apart, because once you analyze, you paralyze and you're wasting your time. But different types of pressure apply to different types of working environments. So some people will not be used to working in a salon and doing 6 or 7 clients a day and having to do a guy tang look in 2 hours. I'm really used to that. Rob's really used to that. Albert's really used to that. Everybody in the salon that we work in, we're used to boom highlights, boom melts, boom, 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 boom. We're used, because that's how we work. That's how we have to do to keep the salon open. That's how we do. Other people are working from home and they do maybe 1 client a day. Other people are working from studios and they have that ability to do 2 clients a day. As long as they're pricing it right, I mean, there's nothing wrong with any of it. But the most important thing is to understand that confidence comes from training, and education comes first. Education, you learn how something works and you learn how to do it, or you watch somebody do a balayage, or you go to a class with me and you learn about zigzags, you learn about how to break bases, you learn about all that. But then you've got to go back and train and train and train and train till it's not even conscious, till it's just in your hands and it becomes a muscle memory. That is, if you can get that training down, your anxiety levels will drop massively, because you'll then be in the flow of your work, where you're just working and flowing, because you've trained the living daylights out of it. So you're You're not thinking about thinking. You're just trained and you're doing it, you know? And then you get on to the next level and you get on to the next level. And that is the best thing you can do is train. Through training you can do anything. You know, you can really do anything. Yeah, you need to train. Everybody can run. You're true, so true. But it's the difference to understand that education is passive. Education is and training is active. You know, you can go into a gym and everybody's hitting a bag. Or you can read a book about how to get the most amazing set of abs, you know, and you can read about all the foods you're meant to eat and you can read all the diet. But you've got to go into the gym and you've got to exercise, you've got to work, you've got to train, or it will not happen. You know, it will not happen. So you can have the best personal trainers, you can have everything you want, but unless you do the work, unless you do the training, it will not happen. So education is very, 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 very important, but it is passive. And training is active. Training is action. Training is no longer in your head, it's in the real world and you're doing it. And whenever courses you do, wherever you go, get home, get behind a chair, grab a dolly, do what you have to do, get training, you know, and that is key to the anxiety levels dropping. You know, confidence comes from that. I've issues with socialising and work. I focus on what they're saying, distracted from what I'm doing. Yeah, that's I would have to think about that one because I can't see all your question. I do also. I hear the horror stories from past experiences start making hair perfect. Almost. You get days, you know, you get days where you're slow and you get days where you're quick, you get days where you're making decisions and where they don't. I mean, I try, how I do it comes back to my training. What's their skin colour? What's their face shape? What's the haircut? I had a girl in yesterday and I said, like, you're going to have to wear, you know, you've got quite warm skin, you've got hazel eyes. These are the colours you can wear. There's Elle Macpherson, Jennifer Anderson, and I named somebody else. And from my training, I know that that's what works. And from my education with skin. So the education of understanding what works on skin tones, and then the training of being able to execute it was able for me to just say that this is what you will do. You know, this is what you can do, and that's what I'm offering you. You understand me? Now her hair was well, thanks very much, Lisa. Her hair was very, very ashy and she was a base 6 and she's beautiful hair, but I just said it just doesn't work on your skin, it doesn't work. But so I was completely comfortable giving that opinion, and she's in on Tuesday and she's going to get an Elle Macpherson. So I'll do a background colour of 871 and 973 and I'll do blonde or highlights, and then in between that I'll paint some 97 balayage from probably from the Illumina range, because I really like the 7.7s and the 9.7s in the Illumina range, especially over bleached hair. I think they're absolutely to die for. And then I'll emulsify the whole thing and I'll do it at the base. And so through my education of skin tones and face shapes and bone structure and texture, I know what to do. And then through my training, I have the confidence to be able to apply that, and putting them both together, I'm able to relay that to the client behind the chair and look at her straight in the eyes and goes, this is not a conversation. This is what you can have done. This is what I'm offering you. I'll see you Tuesday. Bring a packed lunch because I'm not a spring chicken and I'll be there for a while, and bring a wallet because I'm not cheap either, you know. So, but you know, both things are the way it is. But you do have to understand that education is passive. It's about learning stuff so that you can pass an exam. Learning stuff so you can pass an exam, and then after you learn that stuff, the training begins, and the training is everything. The training is everything. You can teach a boxer how to dodge a punch, but until he gets a punch in the head, you know what I mean, you can forget about it. So that kind of thing, and you must train under the level of pressure you work with. You know, hi Aaliyah, haven't seen you in years, beautiful girl. You must train under the pressure you're working. So if you're the type of person that's doing 2 heads a day, big time balayages, then you must base your training around 2 clients a day. If you're in a top salon and you're doing 6 or 7 a day, like Karen was on earlier, then you must base your practice around that, or else you'll arrive into that environment and you won't be able to handle it. You know, I see that with quite a lot of people who sometimes they come to work in Maine and they're not able for, you know, they're not used to the structure. So they're used to being trained in something that's either much faster and it's too slow for them, or much slower and they can't keep up with it. You know, yeah, clients shouldn't, I mean, it should be slightly emotional, you know, or emotionless, you know. What colour are their eyes, what colour are their skin tones, where's the focal point in the haircuts, what colours are going to work against their skin tone. It's not a hat. I always say to clients, listen, sweetheart, your hair isn't a hat. This is the way I see it. This is the way we should do it. And most clients get that, you know. Yeah, I learn from everyone. Comparing to others brings up. Yeah, no, well, I never compare myself to I never compare myself to anyone. I gave that up years ago. You know, I never compare myself to anyone. It's a complete wasted energy. I mean, some people have brought up the competitive streak in me over the years. I did, like, I originally entered International Trend Vision because I felt a little bit threatened. I felt there was somebody coming up behind me and I just wanted to blitz them, and I did, you know. But looking back, it was the fuel I needed, you know. It was the fuel I needed to do that, you know. But there's like, people say, you know, training is hard and making the time is hard. But being behind a chair, unprepared, not knowing what you're doing, and having to face a paying customer is the worst feeling in the world, because you're trying to hide behind a wall. And this comes into the second thing we were going to talk about tonight, which is being authentic and being yourself. That's no problem. You're at the pool. I wouldn't be able for you, Trace. You're at the pool, you know. So you need to base your training around how many you're doing a day and what you're doing and how you're approaching it, so that when you walk in, Tracy, to do your one client that morning, that your training is based around that. And by doing that, you'll create your own authenticity. You'll create what you love. And this is the second thing. I might go back to this. And yeah, for God's sake, you can't compare yourself to everyone. I mean, we had a huge recessions around the world, in Ireland and England and Scotland. Basically brought around because everybody was just trying to buy bigger houses. You know, this is how crazy it was. People were trying to buy bigger houses so that people would look up to them, you know, so that people would look up to them. And, you know, it was crazy stuff, you know, because the bank owns it, not you. The bank owns the car, not you, you know. I mean, I live in a little small house with my kids, you know, but you know what? I own it. The bank doesn't own it. I own it. I drive a lovely car. I just bought it this year. I own it. I didn't get much of a bank loan. I try not to live in debt, you know, because, you know, if you're better to cut, as my dad always told me, you're better to cut your cloth to suit your measure, you know. And I get a great kick out of good work and out of great hairdressing and out of beautiful work. And that's really, hiya Klaus, how you doing? Hope things are going well for you, Goldwell. Great to see you. That I get a great kick out of that side of things, you know. But the whole world fell apart just because of people trying to buy bigger houses. Crazy stuff, crazy. The only thing that matters is happiness, and what you should base your success on. It isn't just money. It has to be on your freedom of time. It has to be on your happiness. It has to be on how you treat other people. It has to be based on the standard of your work. It has to be based on what gives you happiness, what gives you energy, what makes you happy. These are what success now is more about, because a lot of time in the recession, people went down to 3 and 4 day weeks, and they never really went back. You know, they never really went back up. They create a bit more of a work-life balance. And I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. But there is nothing better than being on the bus or walking down the street and seeing a head of highlights that walked up the road and going, Jesus, that's a gorgeous head. Oh, I did them. I did that. Or taking a photograph of something you did and putting it up on the page and saying, we did that. nicest thing in the world. It's a beautiful thing. It's the reason the page is so successful, you know. And if you can look at a client in the eye, and if you could be straight and tell her skin is this type and this type of colour, clients will get that very quickly. It's us in our heads, because we're dealing with so many different people, that we get very insecure. Hi, Christopher. How's it going? I hope you're feeling a bit better. Good to see you on, my man, Christopher. Good to see you on. I liked how you doing that you gave us the other day. I thought that was pretty awesome. I mean, I do. If I wasn't from Dublin, I'd love to be from New York. You know, I think it's probably the coolest. They're very cool people. Love New York. Anyway, so that brings me on to how to be yourself and how to be authentic. So if you look at the page, say, okay, and you stroll down the page and you pick out the pictures that give you joy, you know, the pictures that make your heart sing, the pictures that make you stop and make you go, oh God, I love that. He's a Jersey boy, okay, yeah, he's so cool. He's very, very cool. He's very cool. And he's a great admin. He's been here from the start, and he's a great admin on the page. You know, he really is. The OCC, yeah, he's a great admin. I want to sound like him too. I really do. But if you see what gives you energy and what takes your energy, you know, if you look at things in life, I do this sometimes with my column. You know, as I've got older and I've got busier and I'm more booked. I mean, if I look at the column and I go, oh Jesus, I have your one in at 2:00, and I get tired immediately. I'm lucky that I'm at the level that I can sort of say, right, I'm really going to decide not to do her hair long term, so that I can try and pass her on to somebody who has a different frequency or a different energy than I have, and can make them really happy. And you know what, I have passed them over to someone like Rob, and Rob does a better job than me, and I'm like, you know, Jesus, I didn't even see that look at her. Because we just weren't right together. Our frequencies weren't working. And that can happen quite a lot. And again, you have to let your ego go out of play and go, I would have never done that. And she'll never like this. And she does like it. And she likes him. And she doesn't like me anymore. And she's, you know, but that's life. That's life. So certain things, like if you look at pictures and you go, I don't really like that, but I feel I have to do it, you don't. Okay? This is where being authentic, it comes into it, you know? You don't have to be the jack of all trades, okay? You don't have to be a Vivids girl unless you're into Vivids, you know? You don't have to be a balayage head unless you're into balayage. You don't. Now, again, sometimes this is a resistance to the training involved. People don't want to do the training. They want to do the education. Oh, the education is easy. It goes back to that again. I'll do the education. I'll watch videos on YouTube. I'll learn all about French balayage. I'll learn about where it came from. I'll understand what the word is. I'll be able to pass every exam about balayage. But would I be able to do a head under pressure in a salon? No. Absolutely not, because you're not trained. And that's where the anxiety comes into it. You know? So, there is, yeah, if you have those energy draining clients, my advice is, if you're at that level where you're quite strong, to try and move them into different people, you know, to try and, hiya Joe, great to see you, babes. It's great, couple of UK top people on the page. I found it so hard at the beginning of the page to find people from the UK, and Joe was just one of the legends straight away. Joe and Sophie and Mark, you guys are great. Anyway, so that's, you know, it's the same with pictures. If you're looking at something and go, that's not for me, well, then it's not for you. It doesn't have to be for you. But you do have to be able to analyse and say, is this because I'm afraid of the training and the workings involved? Because again, so many people want to do the education and so few people want to do the training, which is deep ass practice, you know. But very enjoyable, because to do the practice will make you really good at what you do, and then your anxiety levels will drop because you become a master of the game. You know, you master that technique, and it's not something you have to even think about. It's like swinging a golf club, you just do it. You know, so my advice is to do the training on that type of stuff, but you'll know looking at pictures whether they're for you or they're not. And this is a part of what makes your heart sing and what doesn't. And if you focus on what makes your heart sing, and you can reproduce that behind the chair, you'll be super successful. Super, super successful. But if you try to be, it goes back to a bit what Karen was talking about. If you try to be everything and to everyone, and try to be, oh, someone does a brilliant vivid, I want to be as good as them, and it's not in you. You know, it to me, it's a way, you're going down a cul-de-sac a lot of the time. You know, like for me, 70% of my clients are blonde. Hi Teresa, how you doing? How's that apple tart going? I'll tell you what, I'd love a piece of that. I'm not supposed to eat it because I'm not gluten intolerant, but you know I do, babes. Lovely bit of cream on that. Oh, South African apple pie. Woo! I'd be all over that. Hi Emma, how you doing? So this goes back to authenticity. Whatever makes your heart sing, follow it. Particularly if it's, and that's the page is essential for that, because you can see what's going on. You know, you can see. Yeah, you can tell them, you can see what's going on, you can see what you love. And then if you practice what you love, you attract what you love. And then you attract the type of clients who are looking for that. And then they're really nice clients because they're attracted to what you're really good at. And then they invite their friends and they go, oh, he's really good at blondes. This is how it works for me. Like, I'm really good at blondes, as you know, beige blondes in particular. And you know, then they go, oh, I love your colour. Who did it, Andrew? And then I get their friends, and their friends come in, and before they come in, they're already fans because they've seen their friends' hair and they fall in love with their friends' hair, and then they come into me and they get their hair done, and they're really nice, and the energy is really good because they want to be there, and they sit down to get their hair done. They don't ask the price, they don't ask nothing, they just sit there to get it done, love it, go out, and their friends go, oh, I love that colour, did you get them done? And then that becomes a signature dish. This is how life is, you know. And originally it became a signature dish because I saw in a picture that Orbe did or something like that, and I went, I want to be able to do colour like that. It makes my heart sing. For me, the first pictures that made my heart sing were Orbe, who tragically passed away this year. Even though Orbe wasn't a colourist, Orbe's pictures made my heart sing. They made me want I wanted to be able to colour his shapes, you know what I mean? And he made my heart sing, and he made me start to paint hair instead of highlight hair. He made me do all that type of thing. And that's another thing. I mean, now, these days, I'm definitely inspired by a lot of the retouching that's done in magazines and in pictures. You know, that they're so brilliant at retouching things and creating shadows and movements in the hair that I'm always going, you know what? I think I could do a version of that with colour, you know? So I get really inspired by by the retouchers at the moment. I think they're some of the most incredible artists are working for Vogue and working for Elle at the moment, who retouch these pictures and just create lightness in the little areas. And I just think, you know what, I can do that with bleach, you know? So I get very, very inspired by the retouchers at the moment. I just think some of them are just incredible at what they do. Some of them really good. I mean, Robert Lebetta's wife, Kay Lebetta, is one of the greatest retouchers in the whole world. I mean, she inspired me a lot along the way. But you look for the images that make your heart sing, and then you look for the hair that makes your heart sing, and then obviously have the education behind you to understand how to do it and why you do it. But then the most important thing in the whole world is the training. You can go to all the courses you want. You can go to all the balayage classes you want. You can do all your colour degrees. But until you bring it back to the salon and use it under the pressure you work on via training, it's not real. It's just not real. Because then it becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of what you do. And if you're used to doing 5 or 6 heads a day, then you train doing 5 or 6 heads a day. If you're used to doing 2 heads a day, working out of a studio, then you train doing 2 heads a day. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's only what you're used to, and then making it work in your way. And there's always a way to make it work in your way. There's no point in you looking at, well, I want to be like them in the studio and do 1 a day. It's not like, great, you know, but I want to be like Andrew does 4 or 5 a day. I want to be like that. You know, there's no right, there's no wrong. There's only there's only what works for you. And as long as you can make money from it, and you're successful, and you can live a good life, and you're happy, and your energy levels, and all that type of stuff. As long as you're ticking the boxes, it's fantastic. Don't let anybody tell you any different. But there's nothing wrong with being freelance. There's nothing wrong with being mobile. There's nothing wrong with working in a salon. We're all hairdressers. We all should support each other. I hate to see people creating little tribes. Tribes are a waste of time. Community is everything. Community is everything. And in a community like we have on the page, there's a responsibility in a community to behave in a certain way. There's a responsibility to help each other along. There's a responsibility, that works. I mean, I don't know how you double book, Sherry. I mean, I just couldn't. I get anxiety even thinking about that. But then I have another girl there who works for me, and she just bops through them like boom, 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 boom. It's like she's baseball. Boom, boom, boom. Me, forget about it. That's not how I can do. That's not how I work, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Everybody's different. Her clients love her, and she's able to work much faster, much quicker than I am, But then as Deborah, who's on there, I tell you, I'm arsing about and having chats, and I love the old bit of crack. I love the chatting and having a bit of fun and all that type of stuff. But that's the thing today. Education is passive. It's about learning, it's about understanding, it's about passing exams, and it doesn't tend to have a lot of pressure involved. Okay? Forget about it, yeah. But training is the opposite. Training must be under pressure. It must be based on what you're used to working under your hours. Like if you have 2 hours to do a look, you've got to base your training on the 2 hours to do your work, not 6 hours. You've got to find a way to make it work. And you will find a way to make it work. You'll immediately say, well, if I did that way and did this way, and then I got a junior to do the melt, I could get through that in 2 hours. Boom, it's done. The answers will always come. Always come. I have to keep an eye on the watch because I have to get the kids dressed. To bring them to best in hair. I have to get them. Love you too, Stephen. I hope they let a 7-year-old in here because it's a bar. It's a 7 and a 9-year-old. And if I do, I will go live from it because there's it's the Irish Hairdressing Council there, so I'll go live. You need to learn the Irish slang. But I don't. I was dreadful for cursing. As Karen there will tell you, I've a mouth like a sailor. So I'm working really hard to not be like that with you guys because I'm in a position of responsibility here. And I've worked really hard. I can sound like like somebody with Tourette's. I nearly kicked off there last night with a couple of threads where I was like, here, I'm about to slap somebody, you know what I mean? I'm about to slap them. So I didn't. I didn't. Karen knows that I have a mouth so I have to, I work really hard now to express myself in different ways, And that's kind of working for, I am getting much better. But even right here, that's kind of the thing. But these are the important things, okay? Education is passive. It's not real until you bring it behind a chair. And when you're doing training, base it on your working day. If your working day is 1 client all day, then base it on that. If it's based on 2 clients, then base it on that. If it's based on 7 clients, then base it on that. Base your techniques on that. Base everything on your reality, not somebody else's reality. I mean, I love to see a guy going into a studio and doing 1 head a day. It's terrific, but not everybody wants to work like that. Not everybody can work like that. But you can take massive inspiration from that and you can bring it into your worlds. And I always say in the salons that we do a version of Guy Tang in 2 hours, 3 hours. Someone else can do the melt. Someone else can do you can find a way. The minute you address it, there's always an answer. I always get them to bring the inspiration in from our Instagrams. Really, I use my Instagram as my inspiration. My Instagram is for my clients, and then everything else is for the community. Really, everything else is for the community. But we use our Instagram. And it's only a few completely unrealistic pictures, the ones that you see all the time, the black and greys and stuff like that are just crazy, and the girls in full makeup, and it looks like it took about 20 days to do the photograph, that I get kind of annoyed at when people put them up. But they're always put up by people who have no huge experience in hairdressing and don't understand that's not even real. They don't understand that. And Yes, as much as I love education, Teresa is exactly that. Without the training, like you can train to be a barrister, but until you stand in a courtroom and you're going up against another barrister who's going to take you out, until you're behind a chair with a client who's actually going to take money out of her pocket and pay for it, it's not real. Even if it's in a studio where they're not paying, it's a student sitting there who's not going to be getting annoyed with you if you take 4 hours because she's not paying, and you've a mouth of a New York drag queen, Lucy. I really like that saying. I really want to curse so bad now. But I've promised some of the Wella angels that I'd be a good boy. I'll be a good boy, and but that I'll always be myself. I'll be authentic, But that education without training, for me, it's. And I see some brilliant people who are super, now don't worry, I won't. They're super, super educated and they don't have the training, And then other people with, probably me, I've probably got more training and I don't have enough education, because sometimes if you go back to that, it can ruin your flow, But that's the important thing today. Without training, education is nothing. And don't base your training on what you see other people doing. Base it on what you're doing. Just play your own game. And then to be authentic. And being authentic comes back to what gives you energy and what takes your energy. You can go, that client gives me energy. She's from my tribe, she's from my community, grand. That lady takes my energy. Maybe she's not the best person for me long term. I'm not saying get rid of them, immediately. I'm just saying, the Well Angels will be with you. And of course, you see, Teresa, I've gone on rants that you wouldn't believe. I did a course in Manchester where I spoke about breaking the base about 8 years ago. And there was probably only a couple of salons in the world doing it at the time. We were using really low volumes and we were shifting colour bases. We were doing things that were just. People were saying it was bad for the hair. People were saying it was this, it was that. And I stood up on the stage and I think the roof nearly came in with some of the stuff that, and it went down in history, And I'm going to do a class in Manchester in the new year for all you English guys, and it's going to be an amazing class because I haven't been back in Manchester for a long time and I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping March in my head. What I'm going to do in the Wella studio in March, and I'd like to see Lee Sweeney and all the crowd there. I do love the north of England, so I hopefully Brexit doesn't happen as well, and I won't need a visa to do it, because that's what's going to happen, isn't it? I mean, if I want to work in England, I'm going to have to get a working visa. It's crazy stuff. But anyway, please God, it doesn't happen. Let's see. But they're the things to watch out for. Education, training, base the training on your working day, not on somebody else's working day, not on my working day, not on your working day, on your working day. Fit your techniques in based around that. You can change then with time via money and what you charge. Like I said last week, very important to know your value, because from your value you can gain skill and you can gain love, but not the other way around. Hi Richard, how are you doing? Are you going to the council meeting later, Richard? If you are, I'll see you there with me 2 kids. If not, take it easy, my man. I know you're busy with all your kids at home. Like, I remember you bringing in the picture of me. I wanted to buy stuff off you the minute I saw it. Anyway, hope you're keeping well, Richard. But they're the things now today that I think anxiety comes from behind the page, behind the person, is that they can be fully educated and not trained, I'm afraid. You've got to put the training in. You can have as much education of how to do it, why to do it, underlying pigments, levels. All these things are so important. It's so important to be educated. But then you've got to train, and base your training on your working day. Okay? Not on somebody else's working day. Not on my working day and your working day. And then to be yourself, work out what you love and follow it. You know, if you see a picture of somebody that did a beautiful blonde and that just lights your fire and makes your heart sing, follow it. Learn how it's done, go into work, train and do it. Because that's where your success lies. Your success lies in what you love. Your success will always lie in what you love. And what gives you energy and what gives you joy. Okay? And if vivids give you energy and give you joy, then chase that tiger. If it's blondes, then chase that tiger. If it's brunettes, if it's cutting hair, if it's fringes, if it's finishing blow drying hair, if it's, you know, any of those things, then follow those stars, you know? Follow those stars. So, anybody got any questions for me? Your knowledge is nothing, Teresa, until you're in the salon, with your knowledge, and then through training it just becomes subconscious. It becomes like muscle memory, hitting a golf ball, hitting a you know, putting on a set of gloves, walking into a courtroom. If you're a lawyer, it's the same thing. You know, you can have as much education as you want, but until you're trained, until you're behind a chair with somebody who's actually paying for it, it isn't real. Okay? So it's important to do the training, and your anxiety levels will drop the more you're trained. There's nothing like being trained. There's nothing like, you know. Yeah, thanks, Nick. I mean, I haven't given it much thought. I just want to go. I want to just actually going to the awards was so difficult because I'm working tomorrow. It means my wife doesn't get a day off and I could be in the doghouse. So, you know, bringing the kids was the only answer. So the two girls going, that'll be a bit of crack because they've never been in a hair show before. So, you know, would I come and do a class in the US? Absolutely. I feel my life online, Sherry, is getting... I was asked about this from one of the Passionista groups this week. They were asking me, I was being interviewed for a few different things on a Thursday, and someone asked me a question. And, you know, this started off about hair, and then it started off about communicating and the need to communicate. And then it was about the need to reach out and touch other people. And then it became... it's just become so much more that I feel... You know, I feel my life now is changing because of the role I have here online with you guys, and because of the role I have, and because Wella are so supportive. And you know, I will definitely do a class in US. I can see myself doing a lot of things. I mean, for the next 6 months, one of my best friends is just going in to have her first child, and she's my manager, and she's one of the most important people in my life. She's always been there for me. So for the next 6 months, I'm in a little bit of lockdown, you know. But again, it's the most important thing, you know, for that. And then after that 6 months, I'm going to free myself up and start to do a little bit more of that type of thing. But if Wella US invite me to do a class, I will definitely come. And I would like the LA studio really appeals to me, and the New York studio really appeals to me. And I would love to come and just do a keynote, even just talking about everything, and do it with the lads. I would love to do it. So if they get on the phone and they want to make that happen, I will be there. It won't happen before March. Manchester is the next one I'll do for Wella, and then across Europe. So I do feel I'll end up doing more and more of that type of stuff, yeah, you know. But again, my life online, I'm here with you guys all the time, you know. So it's and if there's ever any questions, just ask me, because it gives me a chance. I'm very good at meditating on things. So I've literally meditated on education and training for the whole week. I've literally just, and by about, I think it was about Friday, it started to click. And then literally this morning I was like, oh wait, I get it. It took me over a week. It's education and training. It's not, even though for me it was training then education. I was doing things I didn't know why I was doing them. Where now everybody's starting to learn about why they do things, particularly on the page. But then they need to have the training. You know, there's no two ways around it, you know. Yeah, born to be a mentor. You said that to me a long time, Karen. I just feel now, I feel like I'm a communicator. You know, I feel like, yeah, I'm in this space. It was the maddest thing. It was two different interviews about two different things. and I just was voicemailing them, you know. And I'm chronically dyslexic. I mean, like here I am working online, and I'm chronically dyslexic. It just shows you, don't be worried about labels, don't be worried about that, and just follow your heart, and it'll all work out, you know. And just once you have the intention, repetition. We could do a pop-up class in Lanzarote. I actually know the salon we could work in, Nick, and we could definitely do a Facebook Live from it, no doubt about it. I will be in my shorts doing it though, you know. The days of me, like, that's what I love about Stephen Moody. Stephen is so authentically himself. I was getting into a suit there in Lisbon. I was about to do a keynote. I said, "Are you changing, Steve?" And he said, "No, John, what do you think?" He said, do you think I'm going to change?" And I just was like, absolutely not. You know what I mean? Because I needed to be in a suit, because that's where I was at. I needed that little bit of protection. But Stephen is, you know, is higher. And there's so many people now that go around and they're looking for influencers, you know, to work. They're looking for influencers to get behind their brands and get behind their products. Are you mental? What you should be looking for is authentic people like Stephen Moody, you know, like Sonia Dove, you know, and so many on the page here, you know, like Lucian, you know, so many. They're just authentic, and they're brilliant, and they're themselves, and they're brilliant at their jobs. They know what they're doing, and they're not hiding behind anything. They're not trying to sell you fit tea one week, doing yoga the next week, and then trying to buy a coffee shop. Go away from me. They're the real things. They have value, they have skill, and they have passion, and they have love. I mean, doesn't matter what colour you are, what weight you are. If you have all those things, you'll be fine in life. And I'm very much... I spoke a lot about that with Wella. And Wella, I'm very much in agreement. And we're very lucky in the Wella family that we have so many authentic, fantastic people. And an awful lot of them work for Wella. You know, an awful lot of them work for Wella, and they're just unknown soldiers. But that will change because they're online. And they're shining, as you can see, with Christopher and Galini and Nick, you know, and Anna. I mean, look, Anna's one of the best technical educators in the world, like, by a mile. Like, we're so lucky to have her working for Wella. We're so lucky to have, you know, Anna doesn't know how good Anna is, you know, and Anna is probably the greatest educator of all. And then I could come in and I would be a much better trainer. I would work you hard and train you under pressure, you know. And Anna could educate you like she's been through the online wars, and she's come out the other side. She's an incredible person and an incredible educator. I mean, you know, I don't think very many companies would have somebody of that level who's independent as well. And yeah, we have her as an admin on our page. She's terrific. She's a gem, you know. And Galini, gem. Nick Con's a superstar, you know. And Christopher is one of the funniest, you know. And, you know, Mateus is one of the greatest painters of all time. And Stuart, who works out of Australia. I mean, Jesus, you know, we're so lucky to have all these people, you know. You know, we're so lucky to have all these people, and really, they're you know, that we're so lucky in the Wella family to have all these people. So, again, I have to send out huge appreciation to everybody on the page, bringing their positive vibes, showing their pictures, sharing their techniques, helping other people along. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. I feel blessed to think that we started this page in August, and we'll be coming up to a year's anniversary next August, and we'll probably have 20,000 of some of the best hairdressers in the world all on the page. And we have people who do 2 clients a day, we have people who do 20 clients a day, and as a community we all work together, you know, and it's terrific, you know. So to everybody, I hope this helps this week. How starts with education, follows with training, and then you become authentic. Look for what you love, look for what gives you energy, and look for what takes your energy, and stay away from it, you know. Stay away from it. If you think, oh God, I don't like that, it's not for you. You don't necessarily have to be doing it. You don't have to be brilliant at everything. You don't have to sell everybody insurance. You just have to sell a certain amount and you'll be fine. So you don't have to try and please every client. You can create your own tribe of clients. You know, it's like me. 70% of my clients are blonde, and they like warm tones. Why? Because that's what I like. That's what I do. That's what I attract. And it makes my life easy, you know. And we actually won 2 awards last year for a hair thing, a really big awards, and the clients it attracted were so bad. I'd actually never enter that competition again, because they were all people who were looking for mental hair colours, and I don't. So it just shows you sometimes you go out of your demographic and you go looking for the love. I wanted to win this competition. My ego wanted me to win this competition, and I didn't get one client out of it. I didn't get one client out of it. They were nightmares. I couldn't wait to get rid of them. I had to work really hard to make sure they couldn't get appointments again, because it actually stopped me from doing my core clients, and my core clients are the fans, and they create everything else around them, and what's in the centre is my love of the type of work I do, and then they're attracted to it, and then they invite their friends, and then it gets bigger and it gets bigger, and that's all you need to do. Okay, yeah, I'm over 30 years in it myself, Angel. Yeah, some of the people are I'm 30 something, like I'm 52 this year, so I think I started at 18, so do the maths, you know what I mean? Do the maths. And I went into it because I was madly in love with a girl who worked in the salon. So I wasn't there for colour. I wasn't there for hair. I was there for love. I was there for love. I won't mention her name because she could be watching, And did she break me heart? Yes, she did. But that's it. That's how it starts. Anyway, mucho respect to all of you out there for sharing and for caring and for everything that you do. And yes, I 100% will come to America. All they just have to invite me, and the key to invite me is invite me early. There's a very good chance that I'll be in Morocco this year for a destination. If I'm not there this year, I'll be there next year. So there'll be a lot of the Eastern European people on the page. We'll get to meet up and we'll get to have a chat, which would be fantastic, because here's our fantastic part of the page. I love you all. So that's it for tonight. Okay, think about what I said. Watch it back. Education, training, authenticity. Follow your energy. If it lights up your heart, it's most likely for you. If it doesn't light up your heart, it's most likely it isn't for you. Come on, Wella UK, bring Andrew to America. Yes, see, that's it. They're all, No, I'll definitely go. I'll definitely go. I'll definitely go. And Geneva are fantastic as well. So we're going to get hopefully a good bit of content this week. I was on to Chloe Rimmer on Friday, so they're making some content for the page, so we'll have that coming too. And I'll be back next Sunday, probably at the later time of 6 o'clock, because this is so early. I've got to get the kids ready now and get to this show. And I'll be going Facebook Live in the next couple of hours from the venue that we're in. I want to, Bridget, who's the council, I want to talk to her. And if I see some legends there, I'll get them on the camera and I'll get them to talk to you. And some funny people and people I've worked with over the years, yeah? So I'll be back on later. Boston, I don't know, I think, I used to live in Boston, there was a salon there called Sullis. It's owned by Sean Hayes in Quincy, and I worked there for a summer. Great salon, loved it. Sean's amazing. I think he used to do New Kids in the Blocks hair, and all that. He's a great guy, Sean. He works for a different hair company, but he's a terrific guy. And I used to live in Quincy, and I went to New York for a weekend, but I have very little memories of it, if you know what I'm saying. I was quite skew-whiff before I even left, and I'd love to see the New York studio. I'd love to see the LA studio. Because there's a lot of grey hairdressers in both areas, that type of thing. So this is done and dusted. And Andrew Answers. They were the two people last week. So what would we call this? Andrew Answers, which I quite like. My second name is Dunn, if you don't know me. So Done and Dusted was another one. So come up with some nice names. Florida would be very cool, but I wouldn't want to work. I just want to drink, pina coladas and sit in my shorts and talk waffle. But that's kind of what I'm hoping to get paid for now, rather than working, So that's what it is. But so if you think of what we'll call this Sunday service, Andrew Answers, Done and Dusted, inspiration times, and if you have questions, I'm going to start posing questions during the week, so that gives you guys time to think about the questions, like the difference between education and training, so we can all, because it's very important that we all sort of that there's a co-creation involved and that this is why the page is so successful. It can only be successful because you guys work with me and I work with you. I don't have a rep, Simone, you know, I just order off the Wella store, so I don't know. I mean, I have Damien, he's great, he's cool, but I don't use him. I just order online. And I spoke to Wella about this. We need the online system to just be so strong. But I order everything online. I bought clothes from Zara the other day. The sale started at 11 o'clock at night. Boom, I was on 3 t-shirts, pair of runners. Boom, gone, done in minutes. I mean, I'm trying to think the last time I was in a shop. You know, I would get the royal treatment, Simone. I love that name, Simone. I used to date a girl called Simone when I was about 15 or 16. Jesus, I'm getting the memories here now of the first salon, the girl I was in love with, and now Simone. Simone, I remember her. Anyway, look, I'm getting the wide away eyes, you know. I've been in love so many times. I'll be on later. Neve, keeping well, babe, so enjoy your couple of days off. I'll be on later. I'll be on later from the Best of the Best Awards. It started 5 minutes ago. So I'm going to get the kids dressed. We're going to go. I'm going to make sure that they've ate all their carbohydrates downstairs and all their MSG that I got them. And a piece of my mind, yeah. So that's where it's at, and we'll be on live afterwards. So if there's something good here, if there's some hair shows, I'll record them for you if there's something good, and then I'll be on live with people who I think you'd be interested in talking to. How's that sound? Does that sound good? Always something going on the page, which is great. Over and out. Huge appreciation to every one of you out there. And remember, it's education, then it's training. Find out what you love, find out what gives you energy, follow those things, and you'll be okay. You'll be okay. All right. Any questions that you think for next week, let me know. And yes, thanks, Nick. Hopefully, we're up for Best Colour Salon. So, you know, I'd say, you know, please God, you know, but yeah, let's hope it works out. You know, if it does, it'll be funny because I'll bring the 2 kids up on stage with me, or maybe I'll let them see their dad. I don't know. We'll work it out. I'll see. But great to see you all. Love you all. I'll see you next Sunday. It'll be 6 o'clock next week, I would say, will be a better time. And hopefully the weather, it'll be a little bit better, and I'll be really red because, you know, us Irish people, we love to burn our skins just because we get grey skies. So hopefully I'll have some nice weather. And any questions, good questions, but I'll think about something all week and I'll come up with something for you anyway. No doubt about it. Love to you all, and I'll talk to you later. Okay, I'll talk to you later when I go Facebook Live from Best of the Best Awards. And anybody who's going to the Best of the Best Awards, you'll see me there with my 2 little girls. Their names are Caitlin and Erin, and they're very, very, very funny and very excited. So I've got to go. Love to you all. See you next week. Peace.